good evening. It's Lori again from Laura's World. Welcome back to the channel. I am super excited tonight to introduce you to somebody who I have just come to adore. His name is Mike. He's from New York City. Wow, is he vocal on getting that message out for the next sick and suffering addict, alcoholic. Started his own brand, INSPIRE2INSPIRE. He is online constantly telling people what it's all about, asking people to reach out, helping so many people, and he continues to do so, recovering out loud, even when he has really bad days. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He lets everybody know what's going on with them. Just so somebody says, yeah, me too. You know, I'm having a sucky day. It's okay. It's okay to be not okay. I can't wait to talk to Mike because he's very vocal on that. Super inspiring. Let's see what he has to say. I am so happy to have you on here today. You have no idea. I started seeing you pop up everywhere. Like everywhere. I'm like, who is this guy? And I'm like, oh my God, like everywhere. I would see you on all different Facebook pages, and you know, you were coming on and you were talking, and you had like a morning meeting every day, and you were just getting that word out. And I was like, okay, let me see who the heck this guy is. Mike, the other Mike F, he's like, oh my God, this kid is so cool. You gotta check him out. Wow, Mike, like seriously, you are doing some serious work in this
I
community.
appreciate that.
I am just gonna let you talk because I love what you have to say. honest to God. So I know it's been 6 months, and I know that you've been off
Methadone
for the last month. Like, you got this thing in your early recovery that, my God, you've got a gift. You've been given a gift, because there's people that have 20, 30 years that don't have what you have at 6 months. I'm telling you right now. What I love the most is how you come on and say, I'm having a real shitty day and I don't want to use, and I'm out here to say whatever I have to say. So before we go any further, I would like to give my deepest condolences about your mom, honey, and getting through that sober. I lost my dad 20 years ago, and it continued to use crazily after that. I couldn't deal with it. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
Welcome. So
thank you for all the compliments, and I guess I'm just everywhere at the moment because you're not the first person to say it. So I guess I found a good algorithm through these social media platforms where it's going out there. And it's funny you mentioned the morning meetings because people have been asking to come back, because the morning meetings had more specifics, more facts were in it. You know, there was more research based in it. What I'm doing now is basically, you know, just like you said, like how I'm feeling. But I guess if we're gonna run the tapes a little bit, the whole Inspire, what it is, how it got started. So the program that I'm living in right now, like you said, I came in here 6 months ago. I was also at this program about 1.5 years ago, and I had gotten off of methadone at that time. And I didn't really do the process correctly. I did things because people said I couldn't do them. You know what I'm saying? I was here for ultimatums, basically. If you don't do this, we're not going to give you that. You know what I'm saying? Like we attach our identity to things outside of ourselves. And when we do that and lose those things, we lose our identity. So that's what happened to me last time. I did things because people said I couldn't do it. So my identity was, I'm going to prove you wrong. So what happened was, when I left this place, those people were no longer in my life. So my identity of proving people wrong left. Now I was by myself again, to my own devices. So I started smoking weed as soon as I got out. The real relapse with the heavy drugs didn't happen till 1 year later. But I was playing softball with a bunch of friends of mine, and you know, we were just kicking the shit, talking. He's like, yo, you should start a podcast. So we had started the podcast, and this was, you know, like right towards, I guess, like, because when I got off of methadone last time was COVID was out. So when I got off of methadone, I got COVID the same day. So I was going through methadone withdrawal and COVID at the same time last time I was here. So when I left, COVID was kind of like coming down a little bit. It was that summer. So we started the podcast. We did like 3 episodes, and then he got COVID and it stopped. But I kept going with like these daily videos, so to say. So that that's how like it kind of, the whole name Inspire to Inspire, where I came up with it is, at first I was going to have Addict for Addicts, and it just didn't sit right. So the Inspire to Inspire is, I know the proper grammar is aspire to inspire, but we're addicts and we changed it. So it's Inspire to Inspire because I'm inspired to inspire you. So with that inspiration, I want to be able to inspire you to inspire somebody else. And I think that's where greatness comes. I think that's when we could do things and not care who gets the credit, that's when this world will become a beautiful place. So 6 months ago, I had to come back to this facility, but I also had to make a very difficult decision. My mother's health was declining. When my father passed away, my father was an addict. He died in 2013. So from 2013 to now, my mom and father were best friends. You know, like I never seen them fight. They probably did, but I never seen them fight. So she understood the disease. When she passed away, she was 68 pounds. She had no muscle mass. They couldn't perform CPR because it would have broke her chest cavity. We were having these discussions of what's going to happen when she leaves. So I was very dependent on my mother. My mother wasn't just my mother. She was also my best friend. You know, she was the only one in my family that I was able to speak with this disease about. My brothers and sisters, it's black and white. You know, there's no gray area with the substance abuse. So she was like the only person I could really confide in. And, you know, like she never turned her back. You know, times that my siblings would want her to give me tough love, she wouldn't throw me out in the street. And that actually caused friction between her and my older siblings. But she never gave up on me. So I got drug-free on November 3rd of this year. And she had passed away 3 weeks later. And towards the end, she was really declining. I just kept telling her, like, Ma, you got to fight. Just let me get drug-free. Just, you know, you can't go until I get drug-free. So 3 weeks after I got drug-free, she passed away on Thanksgiving. And we had the conversation. You know, we had the conversation that nobody looks forward to. And I made promises to her. And for the first time in my life, I plan on keeping those promises because I was a master manipulator. I'll say anything that needed to be said in order to get what I needed to get. If you thought I had something and I didn't have it, I was okay with it. If you thought I did something and I didn't do it, I was okay with it. The perception of me mattered more than what I really was. I was a very insecure person. Now that I look back at it, I portrayed confidence. I needed an ego and I needed pride because everything I did had no substance. And I pretended to be all these type of different people that when I would get caught in a lie, it wouldn't bother me. I'd go on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it wasn't anything real. There was no love behind it. There was no substance behind it. So the year that I was out before I came back here, I started seeing that I could build something for myself, you know, and, you know, they say you do something for an hour a day for 5 years, you're a master at it. Well, I was an addict 24 hours a day for 20 years. So I'm probably fucking Warren Buffett of this shit. So it came to the realization, you know, at the time I was 36, you know, no career, you know, no money, nothing like that. What am I going to do in my life? So I started seeing that I could build something. And at first it was, I'm not even gonna lie, at first it was could just be rich and fame, you know, that was the basis. Like, who doesn't want that? And then as I went through doing things and then the weed I started chasing the weed. This is why for me, weed cannot be smoked. You know, some people could do in recovery. If you could do it, your recovery, I'll back you up 100%. Me, what I do with the weed is it starts off just for an anxiety or to go to sleep at night. Then it's like, oh, well, I needed to smoke to go to work. Then I needed to smoke to do laundry. So it's really not the weed. I'm the problem. You know what I'm saying? My mindset, we're not addicts because we use drugs. We use drugs because we're addicts. Some people gamble, some people eat, some people internet, some people sex. But it's a mindset. It's a state of mind.
Absolutely.
It's how we process. It's how we problem solve. It's our perception of life. It's our perception of self. It's our self-talk. Like, all these things play a factor. The drugs are not the problem. The drugs are actually something to show us how strong we are once we get over it. It's a hurdle. Like, I'm looking so far beyond the drugs. It used to just be get off the drugs. I think my life would get better. And it didn't happen. Why? Because the drugs really aren't the problem. It's our attitudes. It's our behaviors. So like, I heard a question and it just, you know, sometimes people say things and it just sticks to your brain. Like, if using was the answer, then what's the question? And I was blown away by it. I'm like, what the is the question then? You know, like, and it blew my mind. Like, and I started thinking like, there is no question, you know? And then like using used to be the solution to the problem. The problem is now that it doesn't work, So we're masters at destruction, masters at it. But I also think if we're masters at destructions, we could be masters of construction. Because if you could break something down, you could build it back up. Living in the darkness gets so comfortable that when we go into the light and we put that light on, we have to deal. We gotta deal with everything that we did in the darkness. So what do? We turn that light off real quick, not knowing that everything that we've been doing in our darkness, there's so many transferable skills that we could take from that to be successful in life. When we act like God is my higher power, when we ask him for strength and courage and guidance, he don't snap his fingers and give it to us. He puts things in our path to build it. We on the other hand are so used to instant gratification and instant satisfaction that we want things to be done quick. Faith is having belief in something without seeing. Martin Luther King said, faith is taking a step without seeing the staircase. You know what I'm saying? So like faith in recovery is not going to be something that gives it to us quick. Recovery is not going to be something that we're going to be able to see right away. Like what I'm starting to realize is that we're going to have to put a lot of work in for a few moments of joy. But you know what? I'll take that few moments of joy, because I remember waking up and the word tomorrow, what tomorrow meant, I used to hate, because it meant another day of pain, another day of suffering. And I was too much of a coward to actually kill myself, because I didn't even know if I really I just knew I didn't want to live. My nightmares were better than my actual life at one point. You know what I'm saying? I remember like not showering and have to like cleaning my fingernails and spray cologne so people thought I showered. I remember that, looking for Coke, empty bags of Coke to try to see how much Coke there, because I didn't have money to get Coke and I needed to sniff it. I remember the shit that I had to hide in between cars because I owed people money. Like when I think of sobriety, I don't think of my life off drugs. I think of my life that was on drugs, because it's abstract. It happened. The unknown is scary. We don't know. And then we're going to start playing in our head. There's no way we can understand what sobriety feels like while we're in active using, because our addiction speaks to us in our own voice. There's no way it's going to let us tell ourselves that we could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. That was my favorite word. So I never tried anything. It never happened. So now it's like I'll be able to take the hits. I will. It means I'll be willing to grow. Like I can is actually a passport to success. Saying I can is a prison that we are going to live in forever. And then the what ifs, the shoulda, woulda, could listen, the but live. Anyone to watch it, the past is done with. It's over. And saying things like easier said than done, it's going to be easier said than done. Telling yourself, like I used to tell myself, I don't think I could stop smoking weed. Guess what? I couldn't stop smoking weed. We lie to ourselves so much that we didn't have a drug problem. Why? Because we wanted to continue in drug use. So now lie to yourself and tell yourself that you can do this until you start doing it, because the subconscious mind is always at play. And all it is cause and effect. We don't think about turning the doorknob, opening the door, and walking through the threshold of the door, because we've done it over and over and over again. The more we do something, more our self-talk is so important. Words of affirmation, like today, just take today, for instance. I woke up, my mother passed away, like, on Thanksgiving, right? So today I woke up, some days it feels fake when I wake up. Then it gets real. Right after I think it's fake, it gets real. And then that voice comes in my head. Well, you know what? You don't got to do nothing today. You know what? You could just stay in bed. That's a relapse, an emotional relapse. It happens before. Taking the drugs is not the relapse. The relapse happens when we don't deal with anxiety, depression, happiness, sadness, when we don't deal with it in the moment and we put it in the back burner. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm starting to understand how my addiction speaks to me. And that is very important in sobriety, because we don't want to focus on certain things. By wishing something not happening, you're going to create it. You know what I'm saying? The thought of getting high is never going to leave us. Recovery is just to take the drug out of our life. The thought is always going to come. It's going to come at good moments. It's going to come at bad moments. Just like they say, this shall pass. You know what? The good moments, this shall pass as well. You know what I'm saying? Like life to me is like a wave. It's like a wave, right? Well, I live on the beach, so I love the sound of a crashing wave on the shore, right? So my analogy of life, I use the wave, right? So when that wave crashes, that's my happiness. The water goes up the shore, and when that water stops, what happens? The water has to retract in order to build another wave. So now life, once you get that wave of happiness, understand that it's going to have to retract some in order to build another thing of happiness. And it's just a reoccurring thing. Like wanting something not to happen, we create. It's like playing the game not to lose. like a boxer. If he goes into a fight playing not to lose, everything is going to be on the defense. He's not going to hit the guy. And guess what happens? He's going to get knocked out. We got to play to win this game. And by winning is by identifying where your triggers are, where your cravings are, not lying to yourself, not wishing that one day you wake up and you're going to, guess what? You're not going to wake up one day and want to do this shit. You know what's going to happen? You're going to wake up one day and you're not going to want to live the way you're living no more. And that's what's going to do it. Not waking up and be like, all right, I'm ready for recovery. Let's do this shit. It sucks. I woke up today and I realized that my mother is dead and I will never have another Christmas dinner cooked by my mother. And that hit me a certain type of way. And guess what happened? I didn't want to do shit today, but guess what happened today? Not only did I get out of that bed, not only did I take a shower, because I used to never take a shower, I made my bed. I went to work that I could have definitely used the excuse I'm dealing with my mother's death and they would have said fine. But I went to work. I came out of work. I came home. I did some duties in my facility that I'm supposed to do. And now I'm on here with you. But what we do a lot of times is, even if I didn't do all of that, I didn't pick up today. And that's the biggest one of them all. We get so complacent that we forget how hard it was just to go 10 minutes without getting high. But then we get in sobriety. I got 50 something days, and in the last 50 days, I've been through every feeling you can find in the dictionary. I've been through every emotion you can find. And what I won't do is my father, when he passed away, is when I really became unmanageable with the drugs. So I was high at the hospital when he flatlined. Then I was high at his funeral. So my uncle had told me a story that when my grandfather passed away, my father really fell off the reservation. So it kind of gave me the green light. You know what? My dad did it. My grandfather did it. Let me do it. And I didn't get no resolution. I didn't get closure. So that was my way of getting to be with my father, in a sense. I found a girl that had a kid. My father met my mother with a kid. I was trying to follow in every one of his footsteps. So what happens now when my mother's dead? I refuse to give my mother's death to an addiction. An addiction that gives nothing back. Takes. Doesn't care if it's, doesn't discriminate, ain't racist, don't care if we got kids, don't care if we got a job, doesn't give a fuck about none of it. It just takes. So you know what? I'm not giving it my mother's death. I'm not numbing this feeling. And you know what? If it's sadness today, if it's sadness tomorrow, if it's sadness 3 days from now, as long as I don't pick up, I know joy is coming. It has to come, because I know I'm not waking up with regret no more.
Absolutely. Oh my God, I fucking love you. I'm telling you, every time I see you every morning, I just smile. I'm like, where is this all coming from so early in sobriety? I love this. Honest to God, I love it.
Thank you. I don't even have a sponsor yet. I think I found my sponsor where I'm at the treatment facility. They allow us to go out to NA meetings, and I was putting in proposal after proposal to go, because in the facility I'm in, you got to earn the things you get, which is just like in life. Yeah. So, you know, like, I'm not liked much in here, which you would think it would be the opposite. But in facilities like this, not everyone is here to get their life together. Some people just don't want to live on the streets in the wintertime in New York City. Some people are here for legal. Some people are running from drug dealers. So in here is unlike the addict community. The addict community on social media wants to get clean. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're drawn to me. In here, I'm not liked, but it has nothing to do with me. It's just, they see the way I'm moving. They see the things I'm doing. I make them feel uncomfortable about what they're not doing. It has nothing to do with me. And I have compassion for them, because I was that person. It's easier when you point the finger. Look how many fingers are pointing back at you. I could identify, because last time I came here, I didn't identify myself as an addict, because when I came to this place, I didn't really live underneath the bridge. I really wasn't homeless, because my mother would always take me in. You know what I'm saying? So my thing was opiates, the pills, cocaine, Special K, party drugs, my thing, crack. So when I came here, I started hearing these heroin stories and these crack stories. That's not me. I don't need to be here. In my mind, I'm better than these people. Yeah. The difference of this time and last time is I got a little bit of a taste what I might be able to do and my purpose in life. And I found God this time. And they say higher power. It's God for me. Since I found him, I don't ask why no more. You know, like, things. My mother passed away. I don't ask them, why did you take my mother? I don't. It's like when a parent tells their child, don't touch the fire. The child doesn't have faith in the parent that the parent telling them what is right. The child plays with the fire and gets burnt. You know what I'm saying? So now God is my father. So now whatever he does, I don't ask why. There's a reason for it. It'll reveal itself when it needs to be. I'm just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And it's such a freedom because I needed to know the answers to everything because that was my life. I had all the wrong answers to the right questions. Then I thought I had the right answers to the wrong questions. Where I'm at today is I'd rather have questions to my answers than answers to my questions because I always needed an answer to be able to close the door. For what? Just to go to something else. Like success was my trigger. And the reason success was my trigger, this is how I always explain it. It's like looking at a skyscraper. When you stand directly underneath the skyscraper and looks up, it just looks like a regular building. In order to see its features in the skyline, you have to back up. Me, when I would get success, I would run up to it like that skyscraper and look up and get bored and have to get high on top of success. Now, when I have success, I don't run to the skyscraper. I stop and I actually look back and see where else I could get even better at. Because I was manipulated, I needed to have some kind of success and then put it out there. You know, like the old me, people that reach out to me and they the great comments and DMs and things I'm doing for them. I used to have to take screenshots of things like that and send it to the people in my circle to show them how good I'm doing. Like in, I think 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, they call it the expectancy theory. You only do things if people know that you're doing them. I don't know. I no longer live that way. Like you don't need to know what I'm doing. God knows what I'm doing. And I remember doing a lot of wrong in the name of being right. You know, for me to be right, you know, and then my lies needed lies and those lies needed lies. And then it came a point where I couldn't even look in the mirror because I didn't even know who I was looking at. Then it got even worse. It got darker. I couldn't even trust the own thoughts in my head. Imagine that, living with yourself and not knowing if your thoughts are real or not. Yeah. The drugs allowed me to play this make pretend person. I was allowed to be this make pretend person and be okay with it. But like I said, the drugs stopped working after a while. I was in such a dark place. So when I wake up in the morning, like my one foot in front of the other is like, how do I reach the unreachable? Like, how do I help the hopeless? How do I get the person off the floor to want to get up? You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm like, and then I just associated, like nothing could have been said to me in that moment when I was there. I was asked a question the other day if I love myself. And I had to stop for a second. And I was like, you know what? I think I like myself. So the person's like, why don't you think you love yourself? The reason I wouldn't say I love myself is because of the commitment it takes when you say you love yourself. When you say you love yourself, that means you're willing to walk through walls, jump off buildings, whatever it takes to go forward. So I had to catch myself for a second and be like, am I afraid to make this commitment? Because us addicts don't like to make commitments with shit, especially when it's the other way. So like I had to ask myself, why don't I want to make the commitment? And then I had to get real with myself. And it was like, because right now it's easy for me to just say that I like myself. So now I got to start getting uncomfortable in recovery, because once we start getting comfortable, we get complacent. And when we get complacent, I start living off past achievements. So when I'm complacent, I'm going to live off, well, I didn't get hired when my mother passed away. And I'll live off that. And that's not enough to live off of. That's not enough to keep me going on this path. So we always have to constantly reinvent ourselves. But that goes with uncomfortability. There's no reward without taking a risk. So now when I'm asked, I do love myself and I'm willing to take the risk. So now I reached out to someone. I asked them to be my sponsor. Another thing I didn't want to do because of the commitment, because I like doing recovery on my terms, on my time, right? Time is the most valuable thing in the world. I see that more than ever this day. That's why I appreciate you and everyone that watches my videos, because you're taking time out of your day, time that you will never get back, to watch my video. So that is better than money. Like, I'm rich today. I'm not wealthy. I don't got money, but I'm rich in soul. And when we die, there's no U-Haul truck, like they say, that comes with our possessions. But there's one thing that does come with us, and that's our soul. So I want to be rich in the soul. The wealth, if that's what God wants for me, then I'll have it. I would love to be a motivational speaker and speak in every country and speak to addicts and non-addicts and just show the interconnectedness to humanity. Addict, non-addict, we all are the same. We all have blood in our veins. We have oxygen in our lungs. That's enough for me. The race, the religion, all that shit is petty. The news wants wants to put that out there to divide us. But there's like, even with alcoholics and drug addicts, like mercenaries, you're hired to fight someone else's war with money, right? All right. So alcoholics in AA and us in NA, sometimes there's friction. I don't understand it. We're fighting the same war. So the money that we could give each other is our experiences, the things that we f***ed up at, the places that we went wrong, the things that we can get better at. When we speak to each other is when we expose our addiction. So weapons of mass destruction is our stories. What our stories lie in what we overcome. We're not defined by what we've done. Who we are and what we do are two different things. But yet we get so, our disease wants us to isolate, because when we isolate, it can manipulate us. And you ever have something sound so great in your head, but then when you go to say it, you can't get the words to come out because you sound stupid? That's our addiction, speaking to us in our own voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, I do. I'm like, oh, damn, why didn't I write that down?
That's why we need to speak to each other. And one of the reasons, I mean, I don't know why it's so easy for me to talk about the things I talk, because I don't, it's easy to me, but then I get people to reach out to me and like, bro, like, I don't know how you say the things you say. Like, people like, I wish I could say things like that. And it just comes so easy for me because I'm at a point in my life where perception meant so much to me. Down now, it means nothing to me. Like my mind's, I had a paradigm shift.
You're speaking from your heart. You're not speaking from your head. You're
Yes.
letting it all out the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
The way God intended it to be.
I'm just going to say that the Bible, a lot of people read the Bible and they define the words with their mind. I'm reading the Bible and I don't even have that many months, but I'm blessed. This is how God is good. Because when gold is purified, it gets put through fire, right? When God purifies us, he puts us through fire, but he puts people in our way to help us get through it. But when we're getting high, we got tunnel vision. We're not seeing the blessings. When we get sober, we got the peripheral. So the night guy, the night security guard here, is a pastor. What are the odds, right? So like I'm speaking to him. So he's teaching me how to read the Bible. He has me reading John first to learn about Jesus. I read Proverbs in the morning. I should be reading more than I need, but I'm getting it. But what I've noticed with the Bible is people read it and they define it with their mind. The Bible is meant to be read and felt with your heart. Because you read the Bible, you should be portraying it in your life. The words should have so much meaning in your heart. I want to conquer the world with love, like Dr. Martin Luther King did, like Nelson Mandela did. They rose people with love. Love always conquers hate. You know what I'm saying? Violence is not needed for this. We could actually come together and with love, that's the only way I could fill this void. I tried drugs. I tried women. I tried jobs. Everything. If I had this in my life, I'll stop doing drugs. This. I got it all at one point and I didn't stop the drugs. So the void that my mother helped fill with her death was love. At her funeral, I wrote a speech about unconditional love. And the only way I could explain my unconditional love was to tell my story. And I told my story in front of 60 people, some of them my sister's friends, brothers. I didn't care because when you take your backyard and you make it your front porch, and if you still judge me, then you're the because you know what? I don't have to worry about lying. I don't have to worry about, I'm not judging myself no more. And that's why we got to tell on ourselves. Because when we keep the shit behind us, when we keep it up here, we judge ourselves. And I have something called worry time. We all worry. But when I'm worrying about something, I give it its own time, say towards the end of the day, 7, 8, 9 p.m. So if something bothers me, like let's say this morning, I was worrying about, you know what I'm saying, leaving my mother 6 months ago. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to make a video. I'm going to leave it to 8 o'clock at night. So you know what happens now? I don't think about it because I know at 8 o'clock I could think about it. So I go through my whole day. When 8 o'clock comes, which is in 20 minutes, I'm not even worrying no more. But when we worry, we are our own worst critics. And then our addiction speaks to us in our own voice. So it's going to want us to complain. I don't ever remember a time complaining and feeling better after I was done complaining. You can't even be angry at your addiction because when you're angry at something, it has control over you. So you could still be in sobriety and recovery and still be controlled by your addiction and not even know it. That's how manipulative it is. That's how cunning it is. The only way I know how to do this, the only way that feels right is by releasing everything. If you're going to judge me, then judge me. You know what? You ain't going to judge me worse than I judge myself anyway. So you know what? Kick rocks too, by the way, because I need people in my life that are going to challenge me. I don't need a yes, sir. I don't need a yes, man. I don't even need sympathy because sympathy is going to make me justify what I did. And I don't need it. I need empathy. I need you to feel for me. I need you to push me. I need you to tell me that I can be doing better, even when I'm doing good, but not diminish the progress, but be like, yo, Mike, you're doing good, but just know you could start doing better. You know what I'm saying? Presentation is everything in this world. People just don't know how to speak to each other anymore. So I'm hoping with my videos that people start to see that addiction is more than just stopping the drugs. Like recovery is fucking great. Don't get me wrong, but recovery sometimes it's just like, damn. But even the bad day doesn't amount to my best day on drugs.
Yeah.
You know, and it can't be explained in words. You know what I'm saying? Because I always try to when I speak. I understand I was a good at manipulating. So now the opposite of manipulation is influence, right? So I'm real mindful of how I speak and what I speak, because there are always someone watching and I don't want to like turn someone the wrong way. But it's a certain type of freedom that can't be expressed in words. I could walk and I look people in their eyes now. I look them in their eyes until they look the other way. I don't walk with my head down no more. You know what I'm saying? Guilt and shame. Guilt can motivate. The shame, the difference is guilt is how you feel about a situation. Shame is how you feel about yourself about that situation. Stop feeling like you're a piece of shit. You're not. There's nothing wrong with you. We got bested. I don't even think we're broken. I think we got bested by a better opponent, but there's so many transferable skills. A Fortune CEO, 500, whatever, right? Grit, right? It takes grit to run your life into the ground. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of determination to go for that drug and chase that drug and wake up with no money and get money to get that drug or call one drug. Critical thinking, knowing what bags you could skip from what customers, not going down this block because you own that one. That's critical thinking. You know what I'm saying? Motivation. When we woke up and we didn't want to get dope sick or whatever sick it was, we were motivated. All those things, the drugs need to bring out our best qualities to make us think that we need the drugs in order to have them. When in the whole time, it's always been inside of us. It's always been there. The drugs have to bring it out of us. It does not create nothing because we don't need to be given recovery. It's already inside of us. We were not born with needles in our arms or something in our mouth. We were not born that way. We adjusted that way. So if we adjusted that way, we could adjust back. 100%. They say once you know how to ride a bike, you can't unlearn it. 100%. But we have to unlearn how to live life on drugs and relearn how to live it sober. And one of the ways I know how to do that is getting with winners. But winners to me are winners, people in recovery like you, like other people that are taking the life hits and not getting high. Winning ain't on the beach with a pocket full of money and living on social media is bullshit. They're highlight reels of people's lives that are not true. Nobody's that happy. Nobody has all that shit. Like, let's get over it for a second. I understand how glamorous it looks. You know what's more glamorous? When I get to put my head down to bed and thank God for another day clean and sober and know when I wake up, I can do wherever I want, go wherever I want. I'm not controlled by a substance. That's what winning is.
Yeah, it is. I just friggin' love you. I love you. Honest to God, this was so awesome.
Yes, it was.
I heard some things that I have not heard in my 12 years. Wow, you are amazing. You have found your purpose in life.
I think so.
You
it feels
so
good.
Passionate about it, and just keep on doing what you're doing, Mike. You are inspiring me. I don't care about anybody else. No, I'm kidding. You're inspiring so many people, and I am so glad that I stumbled across your page.
So we're closing off. I always like to close. Oscar Wilde has a quote: "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken." So the world deserves to know the real us, the true us, because what happens when we don't live our dreams, we become the greatest story to never be told.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
You're
We
the
gotta do
best.
this again.
Yes, we will. Thanks, Mike. I really
Thank you so much.
appreciate you, honey.
Thank you.
I'll talk to
I
you
appreciate
soon.
you.
Okay,
All right. Bye-bye.